Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, aka Cross of Peaceful Eating, and I'm coming in today to have a chat about our hairline and sacrificing our hairlines. I don't know if any of you can relate to maybe feeling nervous or anxious about preserving your hairline, or perhaps you could have done some damage to your hairline. I know I have before, so I don't know if you can relate. Um, yeah, and if in particular, if you have very, very fine, kinky, cottony, Afro textured hair, if you couple that additionally with being someone that doesn't want to use products just simply because I find it overwhelming, yeah, that's a little bit of a doozy. So that's what we're going to chat about today. And you're welcome to this conversation. Respectfully, whatever your hairline, whatever your human suit packaging looks like. If you're new to this channel, welcome on Body Culinary, aka Kwasa Peaceful Eating, personal trainer, professional chef, specializing in coaching folks in whole, fresh living and unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, not a diet. Food is literally your first medicine, literally. And I coach folks that are interested in taking that on as a lifestyle for vitality, right? Imagine if every meal that you're taking in is medicine. And I share 3 leverage lifestyle practices on this channel, and those are peaceful consumption, what I've coined peaceful consumption, food that basically demonstrates that it loves you back, food and fuel that is kind to your arteries. It demonstrates and shows that it is kind to your colon. It's easy on your digestion. It's not riddling your face with acne, as a lot of junk food and potato chips has done to my skin. Also, a daily personal movement practice and garden/nature therapy. These are leverage lifestyle practices. And I say leverage because they give you back so much more for the investment of your time, your energy, and your attention, especially your time spent here on the internet, which, by the way, your time spent on the internet is not free. You're paying for whatever your monthly subscription is. And plus, all of your viewing choices and your clicks, that information is sold so that companies understand how to market things to you to fulfill your vices, your appetites, your desires, your insecurities, all that jazz. I also share on this channel some of my journey of radical self acceptance, right? Some of my process of retraining my eyes and my return to natural. And what that looks like for me is being really appreciative and creative with the hair and skin and features that I have been divinely assigned while I'm here in my human suit. So I have very kinky, fine Afro textured hair. This is my simple, sometimes I say accidental hairstyles, but I really don't take a lot of time with my styles because I have other things to do with my time. It's not that I'm lazy, it's just that I prioritize ease and relaxation. And I also am very clear that there are companies and those that are marketing products to me that although the packaging and the commercials have smiling faces on them, the undertone and the messages that are crafted would have me feeling that I'm not, I will not be chosen, or I'm less than if I don't have a particular polish or makeup palette or, all these different doodads. And it's quite an investment. And I need to make sure I'm getting something back off of the investment. Anything I'm spending my time and my energy on, actually, that's a principle of mine. What am I getting back? And one of my litmus tests to determine if I'm really getting something back is if when I leave an interaction on the internet or with people, I'll notice, do I feel kind of, am I triggered to eat mindlessly, even if it is living foods or healthy foods? Am I triggered to eat mindlessly through the agitation or worry? Or am I triggered to get into action around what I say are my core values? Am I more motivated? So that's one of several simple litmus tests that I have for if something, should I keep it or is it a no-go? Do I need to kick it to the curb? So anyway, that's what we're going to be discussing today. So today's hairstyle is, it's just really just this band that I found, which I thought was really cute and classy. It wasn't expensive at all. It's a faux gold leaf band. And I had my hair out today at the market. And today I've decided to move my part over to the side. So I have a part that pretty much stays here down the middle, but I decided to move it over to the side. So that was simply a matter of taking several of my locks and moving them over to the side. If I want, I could, let me see how the lighting is here. I could tuck it behind my ear and let these come out. And I also have one of my favorite hats. It's a little worn now, but I really love this hat. I thought of buying another hat, but I was like, I really like this hat. So I don't need to have a whole lot of stuff that I'm not going to use. I really enjoy this hat. I wouldn't wear hats before, but I do spend a lot of time in the sun. And again, as someone that doesn't want to wear a bunch of chemicals, then this is not a bad compromise. Also, being I don't have a bunch of oil and stuff in my hair, it can actually work to help shield some of the very, very hot sun from my hair. Right now, though, it's rainy season. So I had this on. If I wanted to take it off, right, I could take that off. So I decided to add like the little bit of a gold leaf. And by the way, I think I see something in there, a little piece of lint or something. But I've decided in terms of combining my hair, and I don't have that many locks, I decided the two I'm going to combine. So I feel like they can use some support from a fellow sister in my Afro flower. And it looks like a string, but actually it's a little cloth kind of rubber band covered with cloth. And I've decided it's not very tight at all. I've decided to put that on it, right, on these two. So that would be one in the front on this side, and let's see, there's another one over here. Let's see if I can find it. These two right here. So these didn't really combine at all. I had this really far down on the two locks. So I've just been rinsing my hair, not that often. But the last time I did this, it took about approximately 2 months for the locks to join, which were these two right over here. That took about 2 months. Oh, I have a little bobby pin. That's what that is. Can't even see what's going on there. Oh no, I got caught in the bushes. I was getting caught in the bushes in the garden. So anyway, I have like 13 and 15. So now I'm going to combine 2 and 2. So we'll see how long it takes for those to combine. Every now and then I have a really delicate brush. It's raining really hard here that I would use to gently smooth my hair. But quite often I just feel my hair intuitively. And I don't even like to use that a lot because my hair is so delicate. I watch for any kinds of pieces of broken hair inside of the sink. So as someone embracing your hair, the texture of it, it feels so nice. It feels wonderful. It feels nice to touch your own hair. That's a big distinction with doing all kinds of other things and putting all kinds of other things into the hair, not to make them bad or wrong. But a lot of times you can't enjoy the feeling of your own kinky, cottony roots with so much other distraction inside of the hair. So I'm not slicking it or anything. I would say one of my biggest products is water. I'll use some of the water from my filter and quickly spritz the hair. A lot of the time, the weather's about to get cold. My hair is soft and spongy. So I pretty much just spritz it with water. From time to time, I'll use the nopales or the aloe or the rosemary or any of the herbs that I'm pulling from the yard. So that's it. I really like the fact that it's not heavy, nothing weighs my hair down. If I put the aloe or the nopales, it can add a little bit of I don't know if I want to say a shadiness. It's like a herbal rinse that you don't rinse out. And periodically when I rinse the hair, it rinses right out. So I don't have a bunch of buildup. I definitely find that no oil in the hair, and now that my hair's getting longer, it was catching on if I put a sweater on because it's starting to get chilly. But other than that, I have virtually no buildup because there's no oil to attract things to my hair. I do need to be mindful of getting caught in the bushes when I go out. So anyway, that's what's going on with the hair. I just have 4 of them that are going to combine, and we'll see what those look like. I don't have a whole lot of locks. So the hairline now. Let's get to this hairline business. I don't know about you, but my hair cannot take a lot of handling. It just can't. And I marvel. I have a lot of compassion also when I see many Afro women in various stages of different types of alopecia, right? So there's alopecia areata in certain areas of the head. There's some alopecia that mimics male pattern baldness. Quite often that is hereditary. I know my dad, I remember his hair line receding. Someone very dear to me, a handsome brother from the motherland, his hairline is pushing back. It's still a lot of Afro around here, but it's pushing is pushing back. I still think they're very handsome. And I remember back in the day, I grew up in the day of Soul Train. So I remember when men, they had like the beady bead, like what we would call the kitchens, or the kinky naps on in the back of your hair. I remember seeing men with that on their chest. I think now men are shaving their chest hair. The other day I saw a man, he was more of vanilla persuasion. He had, his beard was longer than my locks. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work with conditioning and maintaining that, right? I need easy, breezy. But in any event, hairstyles that are too tight, right? We may not be able to control the hereditary alopecia, but definitely wearing styles that are tight or lots of pulling and tension contribute to traction alopecia, which is traction, pulling, and tension on the hair contributes to that. Now, someone with very gentle, delicate hair, to pull or tug on my hair or run on my hands through, my hair will pop very easily. Now, as soon as I say that people want to recommend put this and that to strengthen your hair, this is hair. And maybe perhaps I think differently. People think of strengthening the hair, but though when I think of strengthening the hair or strengthen your body or your bones, that is an inside job. Now, maybe perhaps we can maybe slightly chemically, just like we can chemically break the bonds of the hair to get it to alter the texture. We may be able to fortify the bonds. We call that strengthening, but that's temporary, right? You're putting coatings or you're filling in little pieces of the hair that you can't see with protein or whatever. But when you wash it, you know, it's a wrap. And I like to do what is sustainable. I just feel more peace of mind with whatever grooming that I'm doing, or beauty rituals or self-care. I like what, number one, is coming from health. So first of all, when I think of strengthening the hair, I think that's circulation. And that's also what I'm eating. So I used to be a junk food junkie, and I ate a lot of potato chips. So just even if you're not a PhD, it doesn't make sense that we expect strong hair, right? Or that we're putting on all these products, yet I'm eating anti-nutrients, right? And what I mean by anti-nutrients or negative nutrients is that I'm eating foods, and food takes a tremendous amount of energy to digest. So I've got lots of flavoring and party in my mouth, and it's soothing. I've got the dopamine going on. Ooh, it feels good going down right here in the mouth. But from the time it's hitting my bloodstream, if it's highly processed and lots of flavorings that are artificial, the cells can't really recognize that, right? A lot of times there are subtle, what do you call it? Immune responses. A lot of these foods are inflammatory. We hear about inflammation all the time. A lot of the foods, the basic snack foods that we're eating, are inflammatory, right? And if you couple that with these foods, most of them that we're choosing are very dry, right? The chips and the snacks and the cookies, I ate all of them. They're soothing, and the icing and licking the Oreos and then licking the vegan Oreos, the icing out of it, it's dry. And most of the body is water. So to me, just thinking like my grandma Lou, it doesn't make sense to spend hundreds of dollars, sometimes monthly, on all these moisturizing products, yet the things that we're ingesting on a regular basis dry the body out. The salts and the refined salts and the flavorings and the devitalized, highly processed flours are doing the opposite. They're actually drying the body out. So you're taking 2 steps forward, but 4 backward. It doesn't make sense. And that's actually quite expensive. That's a really good business model, by the way. So it doesn't make sense to me that I'm strengthening. Now I do get, okay, if your hair is weak, you might want to fortify it. But I've taken a lot of that off the table, which is my specialty. I love taking things off the table because I prioritize ease and relaxation mentally, emotionally on my pocketbook. This is what I've chosen. And, as I said before, it doesn't mean that I'm any better than somebody because of my hairstyle, right? I can appreciate somebody with a pixie, some people that might have a straightened style. I appreciate style and fashion. Though when it comes to choosing what is going to work for me, and only you can say we're all at different points in our journey. So I don't like to make any of that right or wrong. Only you can say what your priority is. So for me, my priority, even in my clothes, is I want clothes that can breathe. I might like certain fashions that they look fantastic, but I find, especially now, the fabrics, when they're very synthetic, I find I can't breathe. I feel like I'm suffocating inside of the fabric. So that has me choosing more natural fibers. And not all natural fibers look the best, right? So then to find a better quality natural fiber that's not going to be totally wrinkled, because I'm not going to the dry cleaner every 10 seconds, right? All these little choices can add up to a lot of running around and stress. And that for me is no bueno. I'm not going to be running to the cleaners every 10 seconds. It's just, and I felt this way for years. So I have really over the years downsized. It's actually amazing to me, especially if you live in New York, how much running around you're doing to maintain your space, our storage boxes with all our stuff, and how much maintenance. I mean, hundreds of dollars monthly for our hair. None of it is right or wrong, though I found it actually quite stressful. So all of that stress, I decided a long time ago to take so-called the ever-moving goalposts of beauty. I just took it off the table, right? Me getting dressed up for strangers, ghosts on the internet. You don't know if they're, a little hobbit or somebody, some weird person sitting in a corner inside the library and just typing away endlessly. Like, who are we trying to impress? You can really get sucked in. I don't think I'm immune. I strive to be very aware of it, because you'll drive yourself crazy. And a lot of the stuff is going right, bypassing your conscious mind, going right into your subconscious mind, and we're deeply affected. So back to this hairline. I know I've had some tight styles in the past. And I know with my hair, if too much pulling on my delicate hairline, this isn't mirroring. I don't have the greatest light today, but I won't have a hairline. My hair does grow away from the quote unquote lock. I really don't sweat it, because I find at some point it kind of comes together, especially as I'm not twisting the hair. So again, this is one of the two that I am joining. Oh, I'm allowing them to combine on their own. So this is new. This is like the second week. So we'll see how long it takes for this to combine. I'm not twisting. I'm just not doing all of that stuff. Plus, all of that twisting, all those products are heavy, and I find that they're not complementary to my hair. What is complementary to my hair, really, to be quite honest, is what I'm calling not even protective styling, but restful styling. So that means literally leaving the hair alone, minimal manipulation, right? I've trimmed it several times. I just recently, let's see which side. I recently put a little bead on it. I used to love lots of beads, but I'm very careful. I'm sparing with any kind of beads. Probably this one I'm going to all trim off. So I'll sacrifice, I'll put a bead. But my hair just doesn't like really pretty much anything to be pulled too tight into styles. Once I was going on a trip to Miami and had gotten some braids. I don't have the best light. But I had gotten some braids, right? A nice cornrow style. And I was in my little uniform. And the African sister, she braided my hair so tight. Oh my gosh, like my brains were coming out through my pores. It looked nice. And I was like, oh, it's kind of tight. She said, no, sister is good. And so I just went ahead, because I had to get ready to go and travel. And when I tell you, with each step, when I put my heels on, with each step, I felt like my hair was shaking, and I had to, get some work out of the way. But when I was done, I'm working with folks on my assignment. I went to sit down. I had to go find ice cubes to put on my scalp. It was so painful. I was looking for Vaseline. If somebody had Vaseline, ice cubes, anything to put on my scalp. By the time I got home, maybe it was a day or two later, I took the scissors. I didn't care where my hair ended in the braids, and I just proceeded to cut it out. And that was so traumatizing. I've had several different trauma episodes with the perm, the burned scalp, singed ears from the hot comb, and then the braids. It was so tight. I didn't even care. I just took the scissors and I cut it out, and I was like, never again. You couldn't pay me to do certain things to myself. Too painful heels. Like, when I think of it, it feels like insanity. Maybe some people can work it and rock it, take the discomfort, or people swear they're comfortable. More power to you. But it was so uncomfortable. It was painful. I actually had blisters in my scalp. Once again, it reminded me of the scalp burns from the dye, the lye, the so-called no lye, which is a lye, that harsh chemical relaxer. And so I'm sure, when I think about it, I'm sure I've damaged my hair over the years with all the things I've done to it. And maybe this is just me reflecting. Maybe you feel differently. But if I sit back and I'm honest with myself, I remember as a little girl, my hair was quite thick. And I remember folks saying that they didn't want to do my hair because it was so thick. And so I'm in another phase of life. There are many women whose hair starts to thin when you get older. So when we think about, or if we are even thinking about vitality and longevity and what we will look like in the second half of our life. Many women and younger flowers are not even thinking about menopause, the thinning of the hair. Many women aren't even considering that you're more prone for heart attacks and dementia, right? And type 3 diabetes. There's all kinds of things that are definitely coming down the pipeline that it's not even on our radar, because many of us are living for the now, right? That is the culture. And in an age also where augmentation of our body parts and putting faux body parts inside the skin for 5 and 10 years at a time, at which point they'll have to be looked over or amended or replaced. That's common now. I just heard somebody speaking about some of the lip fillers. They are removed periodically. And when the lip fillers are removed, women have wrinkles in their lips. And just call me simple, call me super simple. But when I think of a lot of the damage, and this is what I think about quite often for the younger flowers, right? These conversations are not had when you're following all these celebrities online. They're not telling you the full picture. And we're so desperate and anxious for validation or to be chosen or to have one up on the next one, because the competition is stiff for working, whether you're in the corporate world or whether you're swinging on a pole or doing escorting work or whatever it is that you're doing. You could even be like in the modeling industry. I don't know, an influencer. There's this anxiety around having followers or selling your business or whatever it is. And so I can't make it right or wrong, but there are lots of things that we're doing to ourselves. And then when we turn off these screens and we turn off the phones and we turn off the TVs, if we ever sit in quiet, which is really nice sometimes, I really adore quiet moments. You know, how do you feel about yourself? I don't know about you, but years ago, I wasn't a big makeup wearer. But even with my mascara, I remember when I took it off, I just had this kind of little bit of a dejected feeling like, I don't look the same, right? And I remember taking off my mascara and then my little natural lip glosses. Also going into whole fresh living foods as a lifestyle, I remember there's some changes that my body went through. I noticed that my lips didn't get chapped anymore. I didn't feel dried or dehydrated. I think it's because there's so much fresh living water inside my food. I started to feel like when I put the lip gloss on, it felt like a coating of plastic, right? It felt kind of greasy. So there's certain subtle changes that I noticed. I could really feel the distinct difference between different oils, right? Between almond oil, avocado oil, olive, almond, avocado, jojoba oil. I can distinctly feel the difference in the different oils and how they smooth on the skin, what's more appropriate for my face, what's more appropriate for my body when I do use oils. So there's all these subtleties in addition to the temperatures and the textures of the food. I noticed they affect my mood and my satiation levels. So in taking a lot of things off the table, I started to notice a lot of subtle things. Kayla Ali Joseph, yeah, beautiful sis. Don't worry, I'm on the same journey. Aw, thank you. And so again, and my nieces can slam ding some makeup. They work that makeup. They got it. One of my dear friends, her name is Goddess. She is fantastic with the makeup. So I'm not as crafty with the makeup, and I don't know that I really desire to be. You know, I'd rather be more fit. And I like to have a certain level of fitness and a certain aesthetic. I like a natural aesthetic. I think I decided many years ago that, and I think it's due to, I used to work in a store called Canal Jean in New York in Soho, one of my first jobs in high school. And I remember there was this model that came in, a black model. I believe her name was Karen Alexander. And then the bolero jackets were in style. And she had on the simple bolero, a white t-shirt, and some jeans. And a lot of fashionistas and fashion people would come there. Now I realize stylists would come to this store to shop for a lot of vintage things. It was a fantastic store back in the day. It was called Canal Jean Company. And I remember thinking like, wow, she looks good with just jeans and a t-shirt. So I noticed that aesthetic. Many models back in the day, they seemed that they would always look fantastic with their jeans and a t-shirt. But somehow it seemed like it was different when I put the jeans and a t-shirt on. Fast forward, now I understand the cuts of certain clothing, right? As somebody that is short and petite are going to look differently on me. And then we have different shapes. I'm very rectangular. I don't have a curvy waist. I do have a round, natural bottom, no BBL. necessary. I understand now some of the principles of clothing fitting a certain silhouette. I would even say that I've explored the silhouette of my hair, right? As someone that has chosen, I'm just not going to use the styling gels. I just refuse. I threw out the shower caddy. I'm not bringing it back. And I still have enough things, like whether it's cleaning supplies, even if it's my concoctions of vinegar and citrus. I do use real Clorox where I am diluted, baking soda. But even with those things, it's just too much stuff. It's too much stuff. And I prioritize, I like wide open spaces. I like a play area so I can roll on the floor and stretch. I like to lay on the floor and play with my bunnies. A lot of times I'm in the garden. Quite often I'll get stuff in the bushes caught in my hair. So that is a value for me. That is a priority for me. Play and movement is it's a value. It's a lifestyle. It's a non-negotiable. That's a non-negotiable. Whoever I would entertain as a partner, I'm just very clear. I'm not sacrificing that for anyone. That is a core value for me. My food, I'll spend more on food than I would spend on makeup. So I have found a couple of things that I brought back that I like. I do like mascara from time to time, some eyeliner. I found some ground cacao, the actual chocolate with cocoa butter, natural cocoa butter. That's local. And I like to put that on my cheeks, little cocoa butter on my lips. That's it. I did find a lip gloss. I see all this contouring. I'm not doing all of that. But sometimes I'll put cocoa butter with a little bit of lip gloss right here. And I'm done. So I'm sweating all the time. I'm in the garden. That works for me. So when I'm exercising a lot, I have a tendency to pull my hair back. Sometimes I have to give my very fine hair a break from the same hairstyle. Because again, this is the hair that gets damaged very easily. So I really prioritize the restful styling. So too much of this, it might look a certain kind of way. I remember there was a time I used to be tempted to think, ooh, I could get some styling gel and see, like there's some Rasta sisters I see that really rock a really, really nice style where this is all, they're Congo Natis, but they put styling gel here. I like the look. But when I think of washing out the black styling gel, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the energy. I can find the energy for a movement practice. I don't have the energy to be washing out black styling gel or to go in the pool. Or right now I'm in rainy season to go out in the rain and then I have black styling gel on my clothing. That's not going to work. I'm just not sitting in the salon for hours. So I suppose we'll all have to choose, at whatever stage of our journey we're in, what works for us. Like when I say works, like you feel free. This hair feels free. Now, once again, as I'm letting some more of the locks combine, it's always like a little trepidation. Like, I don't know totally what it's going to look like. I can see now that the locks have matured. Sometimes you can't see it from here, but they're all flat. I mean, some of my stuff is like flat, like paper. Like it's super flat. So sometimes look at this. This is so flat. I don't know what this is going to look like in years, but when I feel my hair to be intuitive, to feel the hair, I can't put too much squishy rubber bands because that's going to destroy the hair. Maybe all of this will break off at some point. So sometimes we're like, I don't want this to happen. So we try to control the hair. But just like the nails are going to keep growing back unless we damage them, it keeps doing what it do. So I'm just going along with the process. And I'm just not willing to sacrifice my hairline or the health of my already delicate hair to dyes. Yes, I do have some grays coming and people are like, where are your grays? There's a couple in there. I'm starting to see a few of them, but I just don't worry about it. Just like I don't think about the length of my hair. It's like it feels like I kind of forgot about my hair, which is to me is a good sign, right? Just like I forgot about lip gloss and all that other stuff when I took off my earrings for many years. I brought earrings back. I just kind of forgot about it. And that was a really good feeling. It actually retrained my eyes to appreciate what it is that I have. And I like my reflection. And I am intentional about retraining my eyes or maintaining, being very protective, almost like if it was my daughter, being very, very protective of my psyche, right? Of not feeling like less than if I don't have something or if I don't have something on. This is the hair that I have. And sometimes I just look and I just stare and I feel around and I feel what it is that I have. I really enjoy putting my hands in my scalp. I mean, if you really think about it, so many of us for years don't have our significant others really totally put their hands in our scalp. That's crazy. When touch, I really adore touch, safe touch. But if you think just like you're missing out, or we could be missing out on something so sacred as somebody putting their hands in and massaging your hair, which feels so wonderful. That to me is definitely an expression of intimacy. So if I had like the doobie, the braids with stuff in it, nobody would be able to get their hands in there. And that's like sacred touch to me, right? Really intimate touch to me is like a head massage. I don't let everybody put their hands in my hair. I'm from the old school. But that feels so wonderful. So I can't imagine missing out on that. And then, I see the pieces that, people, oh my gosh, the hair grows away from the lock. People going all out campaign. Like, I can't possibly have my hair grow out from the lock. Okay, it's growing out from the lock. But look, at some point, it gets mixed in there with the rest of it. So I've just realized I don't have to sweat it, right? So I can just relax. I can put some water on it. I can literally smooth. So just like ladies are finger detangling, I can feel my hair. I can smooth it. I can spritz some water on and tie it down with a scarf if I wanted to look neat. Easy, breezy, carefree, melanated cover girl. Or just easy breezy cover girl. Like, to me, ain't nobody got time for, at least not over here. I'm prioritizing play. I'm prioritizing preparing delicious, healthy, beautiful food for myself. Again, that is a priority. So if we ever sit down and do an accurate accounting of our time, I remember spending, and I love doing double strand twists, but I was spending some hours in there. And as soon as I would go into the steam room, in the sauna, and run with some clients and be running on the treadmill with a weighted vest on. Even though my hair was natural, it gets a little fuzzed out. So I was like, well, perhaps I can just find styles that embrace the frizz. So the frizz, the fluff, the Afro puff, that's what I've done. And I found, my little Afro locks, that's what I'm calling them. Anybody can get locks. You can do whatever toots your horn or float your boat. Though this is a very unique DNA marker, right? Who else has this, right? So this hair has its own, it has its own behavior. So it's going to grow, it's going to be kinky. My hair actually also has an interesting brown kind of color. I would think sometimes it might look like it's dirty, but it's not. It's just, it has a color. It actually has a shine if I was to pull it, but that's not our hair. It's puffy at the root. So rather than drive myself insane and crazy, it's enough things already vying for your attention. I have decided just to embrace and go along with what the hair naturally does, basically for relaxation and also for health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, and the mechanical health of my hair. So without the pulling, I'm not sacrificing my hairline. I actually noticed this weekend at the market, I noticed several times that I've seen women who don't even have kinky hair, women that have much more, what would they say, like a 3CBA, much looser curl pattern, more of my Spanish sisters. I don't know if they're Mexican or whatever, but just much lighter curl pattern. I noticed that I've seen numerous women all of a sudden with very damaged hairlines, which that's something I only saw with African and African American Afro women, right? Where this looks like it had so much braids that were tight that it's just right over here. It's like missing a little bit down here. Let me see if I can show you on this side. A little bit of hair here, but this is all like missing. And I'm thinking, like, what hairstyle is that? I don't know if it's tracks that they're putting, but I've seen a distinct pattern. I'm like, wow. So other women are also, I guess everybody's using extensions and hair pieces and lots of gel, because the stores here, as I travel, is loaded with all of these, with so many gels, and a lot of them also have alcohol. But I've never before, this is the first time I'm seeing women with a much looser curl pattern with so much damage. That's something, that I only saw with Black women who got braids that were too tight. So I'm like, it's got me wondering what hairstyle are they wearing? The only thing I can think of is if it's hair pieces or faux pieces. It's the wigs, the tight braids, and edge controller gel. Wow. Same. Gonna do tea rinse right now. Sage, horsetail, oregano, and green tea. Hey, greetings, Rose. Yeah, so I don't know. It kind of like it kind of threw me for a little bit. I was kind of like shocked. I'm not used to seeing um our Latino women with that, again, that damaging spot over here on the side. That, again, I've only seen that before with Afro women, African American, African and Caribbean, Afro Caribbean women. I've only seen us with a specific, because we know, because our culture, we wear braids and wigs and lace fronts. I have never seen that damage where it's a little bit down here, and all of this is kind of like, it's like a patch. It looks like a bald patch. And I'm like, what is that? I saw one, two, three. I'm like, I said, what is going on here? Am I missing something? So I'm not used to seeing Latino women with so much damage. I have seen in my travels, I've seen quite a few women now with tattooing of the eyebrows. Again, these are some things we may not think of, but after so many years of threading and tweezing, I remember my mother saying, the women from the South saying, you better stop cutting your hair, because I used to love to cut my hair short at one point. You better stop cutting it because it's not going to grow back. And I was thinking, that's silly. If you cut it, why would it not grow back? Doesn't make sense to me. Well, whatever it is we're doing to our eyes, maybe we're just pulling it too much from the root. Now, that might be a little bit different than just cutting it. But whatever we're doing, we're losing. There's something that we're doing, we're losing our eyebrows. And so most women do not want to walk around with no eyebrows. So we're getting these tattoos. And the tattoos, it has a harsh, artificial look, right? Because if you're going to somebody that's like a tattoo artist, usually they're using black dye, right? Like the tattoo dye. And so it doesn't always blend in well with the face if you have more fair skin or even chocolate skin. So it just has, there was a cartoon back in the day called Bullwinkle. It was this moose, and it was like a couple that looked kind of like a detective, almost like from the Addams Family, right? Like a mortician, this guy. Anyway, they looked like they had like a permanent, like, angry frown. And that's what I think of sometimes when I see the eyebrows. Usually I don't see them done what is soft and is complimentary. So it's got me thinking, like, wow, maybe we can avoid a lot of this damage. As someone in the fitness industry for years, I've seen all kinds of fitness transformations, natural and unnatural transformations. And it's something that trends online. And it's wonderful to see I know what it takes. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to lose a significant amount of unhealthy adipose tissue. And I see women dancing and celebrating their weight loss. Though, again, when I think of the younger flowers, if I was having a conversation with my younger self, I think, like, we put ourselves through a lot of unnecessary damage, right? It's only but so much you can keep sewing up or altering the loose skin, right? We're actually deforming, and that may sound away, but we're actually eating to the point of deformity and deforming our natural body. So there's so much loose skin. And again, I've held space for numerous women that have released a lot of excess unhealthful adipose tissue, the technical term for fatty tissue. But there's so much damage. I'm thinking, like, wow, if we just ate real food to the point of satiation and we had other things to do with our time, right? Grandma used to say, stay busy, stay out of trouble, then we wouldn't have to go through all that damage in the first place. And sometimes I feel like, man, that's that given. I feel like it's just misinformation for the next generation of young flowers, right? Coming through. Like, sometimes I feel like you don't have to go through all of that damage to come back to the same place. You could have saved so much time, energy, heartache, and money and insecurity by just eating real food and prioritizing a daily movement practice first as part of your mental and emotional hygiene, not just for a look. And then you don't have to worry so much about it, because your form, what you look like, is going to follow your function. Your body is following and responding to whatever you do and whatever you're putting into it, right? I like to make things like super simple. But the amount of loose skin, if you think, if we're carrying 50, that's a lot. 100, 105, and 200 pounds of weight loss, and I get it, that's a lot. That's a mindset shift that has to occur. But then after that, usually when someone takes off that amount of weight, they're very concerned, like, what do I do for the loose skin? And people are anxious to remove the loose skin. But if we haven't changed the mindset, you can actually put all that weight on again. And so how much can we keep stretching the body? right? So just some things to consider. We're doing damage. In addition, some of the things, the faux body parts that we're putting in, they don't have, they're not real, right? So it doesn't have nerve endings. So your glutes, they fire up to activate so they can get you out of harm's way if you're in danger. But I just wonder, does anybody think of the faux parts that we're putting in? Number one, what does the body have to say about things that actually don't belong in there? Right? There's a high increase, and we talk discussing it in Flower Fit and coaching, which we do every Sunday at 2 p.m. The uptake, the dramatic increase in women with autoimmune diseases. There was one article that we were reviewing in our homework section for our coaching that was relating sadness and depression to autoimmune diseases. Now, if you really sit back and reflect, that makes perfect sense, right? Everything, every thought that you're having, everything mental has chemical reactions. Fear is a chemical reaction. Happiness produces certain kinds of chemicals. So it would make sense, right, that there is so much autoimmune diseases. And I think perhaps, people usually just want to talk about the exercise and the food, though habitual toxic relating, right? Some of us may not be able to get away from partners that we're committed to, or we have a lot invested children and so on. Partners, jobs, may not be in a situation we get away. And so toxic ways of relating where all parties involved, we have habitual ways of communicating with each other. That has a dramatic effect on your body chemistry, on your hair fall. There have been numerous women you can see all over YouTube that have experienced hair fall, right, or hair loss during periods of intense studying or school or divorces. Or I mean, even if we look now, I surmise that even looking at the internet, the amount of vitriol and bitterness that's going back and forth, also the displays of women being made not to feel safe, that has you watching that and processing that over and over has a chemical effect on you. So it is really for us to be extremely mindful and to curate what we are absorbing from the internet, because whether we want to admit it or not, I would say dramatically affected chemically, emotionally. I don't eat any processed foods, any junk food anymore, which I'm so grateful. But I would still have to say, after all of these years, I'm still very mindful that being online or social media, especially when it comes to violence, is extremely triggering. So we're moving at such a pace, we may not be self-reflective to notice what our personal triggers are. So one of the reasons why for me, I found it so beneficial, a quote unquote as natural as I can make it, right? I still wear toenail polish, natural and unnatural, because the natural stuff can get kind of pricey and I like to play. That's one of the things I afford myself. But the environment that we're living in, and what we're being exposed to mentally, right? This one-way communication has an extreme, it's having if we only knew, if we could see it, a dramatic effect on the brain, on the cells. The messaging that's being crafted in terms of fright and fear has us secreting extreme amounts of cortisol all day long. That can contribute to adipose tissue or fatty tissue that seems almost impossible to burn off, because we stay in fight or flight and we feel so obligated. I totally get it. We feel like we can't turn off the screens because we're going to miss something, an important piece of information. Yet I feel like we are being ushered into a period where it's for us to make choices about curating what we are downloading. Many of us so much fear about being chosen, or toxic relating, or what's the future going to look like for us if we have children, if we don't have children. It's like worry, 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 worry. That's a lot of time that could be spent planting. That could be spent jumping rope, doing dance, learning self-defense, having some fun and relaxing. That's why I'm all about Flower Fit. You stay busy, stay out of trouble. Because if that's what's being broadcast, it's going to occupy most of your brain space. I recently had some beautiful folks come to spend some time and to visit with me, and we went to Shanantanich, which are some of the mind sacred sites. And we were thinking, like, I wonder if we're going to see some monkeys today, because they're howling monkeys. and they're also spider monkeys. And that day we happened is like some monkeys got up close and personal. So spider monkeys, the biggest spider monkeys I've seen, were like coming, like running to us. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just thinking, I'm so grateful to be decently fit enough to go climb all the way. I made it all the way to the top, and I've got my bag with my food in it. These are just habits. I'm not worrying about my hair. I'm in and out the door. The next day we went to go visit the iguana conservation project, which I posted one of the pictures inside of the community section. So if I've taken a lot off the table, I'm not worried about hair. I can't eat any better than whole fresh living foods. I got a movement practice every day. That's a lot that I don't have to worry about. I don't have to run out to a gym, although I'm very well versed in how to use all the machines. But making my home my sanctuary, my play space, not worrying about my hair, it frees up so much time for the garden, which is relaxation, which I count as therapy. Your movement practice is stress relief. It's a time where you feel empowered. That's therapy. Making beautiful, exquisite food for yourself, doting and caring for yourself. That's therapy. I saw a woman online today, sometimes like this dog on internet, and she was crying, and it was a black woman, I think an African American woman. She was really she had a gut wrenching cry, and she was saying, I just want somebody to love me, and I want to be somebody's wife, and I want to be somebody's girlfriend. Oh my gosh, I think everybody was really feeling this woman crying, and people were like, what's her tag, or what's her social media so we can send her some love? You know, of course, people are very polarized in what they thought the answer was. And I think at this point in my life, I'm just more clear. Like, and someone said this to me, an elder said this to me many years ago, which kind of was shocking to me, threw me for a loop. Not everybody is going to get married, or some people get married and don't stay married. We have different types of relationships. And that's one of the fears that many of us have. And these fears have us online on social media. Even if we're crying on social media, what can strangers on the internet do for us? Right? And then also, all of who we are by no means is definitely not our weight. Definitely. Right? Um, though we're spending so much time waiting. And this woman made another video saying, if there's any African men out there, I want to be a wife. She said, even if you want a green card, same woman, she was like, look me up because I want to be somebody's wife. And I was like, wow. And this woman, I would think, well, maybe she's about my age. But I was thinking like, wow, with this phase of life, I don't know, it brings up so many thoughts of programming and conditioning. I don't think there's anything wrong with relationships, but that feeling of like you could expire out of this life hoping, wanting, wishing, and pretty much in depression mode, waiting for this idea of what a relationship should be. And in the meantime, we're leaving life off the table. There's so much dancing, there's so much health. We're wanting so much somebody to care for us, and our health is in crisis. That's honest. That's something I watched to just my perspective. It's so easy for all of these strangers who've just seen a little clip to come up with which I think is really a lot of projection, to come up with all these ideas about what they think your situation is, right? Maybe she's a widow, or she just wants love. And it's like, I don't know, just something that just felt so dejected and kind of like, I don't know, it's like almost, I don't know, maybe I can't think of another word other than victimhood, but the context of victimhood, it's like a waiting. And I feel like tomorrow, it's like with weight loss or weight release. Tomorrow never comes. It just doesn't come. And so it's like, I like to dance. So it's like waiting at a party for somebody to ask you to dance. You know, at some point, I'm the person, I'm going to get on the dance floor and I'm going to dance, because you're waiting your whole life away. And there's a lot of nutso people and narcissists that don't have a problem wiping out whole populations of people, or pressing the button to, end this 3D plane, right, as we know it. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting, in vain. We're waiting on life and boohooing on the internet. And I don't know. I don't feel like that's effective, but who knows? There are temporary alternatives like henna. Some weren't born with peace. Yeah. So thank you for sharing, Rose. So anyway, this hairline, if you have very delicate hair, short hair. Maybe you're trying to make one last brouhaha, or like, what can I do? I want to hold you. Maybe still determined to hold on to what you have. Now, I am of the mindset that if my hair is ever getting bozo the clown, I have no problem. I will grab the clippers and I will shave this off. I feel extremely comfortable with a baldy, a low haircut. Again, that was one of my experiments I did many years ago. I loved it. So this is just another phase for me to try out. I like the hair, experiencing the length. I don't think about the length so much anymore because it's easy breezy. If it's not easy and ease, it's not for me. So true, Sierra. Hey, Sierra. Yeah, that's a priority. Ease, comfort, relaxation. I think we deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair and skin. We have the right to play. If you want to do different color hair, that's your right. If you want to do, if you want to fix a cleft in your lip, or if you breastfed and you want to get a lift or something, nobody's the food police or the hair police. Though I would caution folks, right, especially young flowers without a frame of reference. I know personally people that have had, I can think of numerous people who've had uh, augmentations and procedures done that had the best doctors. And a lot of them have a tremendous amount of scars. Some of them have had to go back for numerous other surgeries, and several of them have gotten botched up. And these are the things you don't hear talked about. There's a whole section on YouTube about explants, where there are very young women whose bodies are rejecting the implants, and so having them taken out. Yeah, so I don't know that it would suffice. And again, maybe just lack of information. There are many young women that their research is price comparing different, who has the best job, who can do the best work for their money, or asking strangers on the internet for their opinion. And I just don't think, I don't know, just I found in life a lot of people are not going to tell you about their trials and tribulations. They don't feel obligated to share all that information with you. So without a frame of reference, there are many young women that will likely do some permanent damage. And these celebrities, they may have the money to have things taken in and out of their backside or in and out of their face, or if they take the fillers out of the lips and they get wrinkles, maybe perhaps they can afford the latest procedure, but that's not the average person. So doing these things that leave permanent scars or damage, or should you need to take the breasts out and now you have more hanging loose skin, I feel like those things could potentially cause even more insecurity, like even more insecurity. And then you may be feeling like, who's going to want me for this? Who's going to want me for that? I've seen just all kinds of horror stories, to be quite honest with you. And I've seen increasingly, I've seen more young women. I've seen so many young women. Again, this is not, I'm just making an observation. I've seen so many young women on medications, mind altering medications, right? And sometimes I just go, wow, I think so much of this, so many things would be handled with community, right? If you had safe spaces to process trauma and to discuss certain things, and then had a lot of therapeutic movement, and when a safe space to share food and recipes. That's what I think. There's so many things that will be taken care of with people and community, but I guess I suppose people are not finding that safe space anymore. And so we feel like people are burned out. The hours that people are working coming straight out of college distress. And so the answer is that people found is medication. Actually, one of the pieces of homework that we're looking at this week in coaching is, oh, what's the name of the video? There's another doctor that is saying that he believes the medical profession has it all wrong, right? Prescribing pills for mental health, that doctors have it all wrong. So there's a lot of guinea pigging going on. So I like to keep things super simple, because then it's not so much alteration. If I wanted to play a little mascara, I can wipe that off. That's not permanent damage. Maybe the most intense thing, if I put toenail polish on, which I don't wear all the time because I want to see my toes. We want to make sure, we don't have a whole bunch of fungus in our nails. We're so desperate to cover everything up, but our body's communicating. So I want to see if there's any discoloration in my toenails, my fingernails. That's telling me a lot about the health of what's going on in my body. All the acne and the hyperpigmentation was telling me about my liver. So I want to see how long that takes to process for things to pass through my my body. So that's a lot of my rationale. Not that I'm better than anybody, but I'm gonna keep it real. For me and my family, I have never, ever, I have never seen fantastic results from drugs, alcohol, weed, narcotics, junk food. Never, ever, ever. Now, if you have, rock out. I have never seen any exemplary, I haven't seen the results that I'm looking for. So I'm an observer of patterns. I'm an observer of results. So I want to go where the results are. That's what I'm striving for anyway. So if I've seen a clear, distinct pattern, this just lets me know how easily we are programmed. Why am I following? We do a lot of stuff without questioning. Why am I following the advice of celebrities or someone because I like their hairstyle or their singing voice? Why am I following and mimicking what they're doing? Right? If I also know I can't see behind the scenes. Most of our beloved celebrities, how they've exited the planet. So I don't know everything, but there's certain things that have yielded specific results. So even if I don't know everything to do, I can see some specific patterns that I don't want to mimic or follow. I don't at this point need to go get with somebody that's fine as wine, but if I see they're not serious about the health of their body parts or their reproductive organs, then likely they will share that habit or their state with me. And people are sharing their states with people. So people share their habits. So if somebody doesn't have the results that I want, then I'm mindful about the fact that we share things with each other. So your circle of influence is your health improved? Is your fitness improved? Is your financial acuity or your knowledge of how to move your money or good habits? Are you rubbing off on each other? You likely are. Are you more inspired to cuss folks out, and you're egging each other on to cuss folks out, which is not necessarily wrong, though? Is that the best use of your energy and your time? Only you can determine, right? There's no food or there's no police there. Only you can determine if it's a good use of your life force energy. So all that from this hairline. If you want to hold on to it, I say go with the restful styling. I know, it's kinky, it's cottony, but my hair, it feels like soft. It feels delicious. I really, really enjoy the feeling of my hair. I like the feeling of the flat locks. It feels nice to be able to put my hands all through my hair. I like that I can sweat. And right now it's rainy season and I can go and I can get wet and I don't have to worry about makeup running all down onto my collar. So it's functional, right? In the styling world right now, there's a discussion about your fantasy self versus your actual self, right? The fantasy self of you, how you idealize yourself, right? And I have dresses and I like vintage clothing, and things that look very romantic. But there's a lot of time where I'll go for my workout, my movement practice, and I go right out into the garden. So a lot of times I have a garden manicure. Um, and I need to put things on that can get dirty. So I can't wear all my white skirts. I never thought I would wear so much white. I'm really loving to wear a lot of white and long maxi skirts. But right now it's rainy season. So if I step outside my door right now, that stuff is going to go into the mud. So I've embraced more of my cowboy boots and my hat now because I don't want to put a bunch of stuff in my hair. So your real actual self, in contrast to your fantasy self, me looking like, a little um, Afro flower in the garden, little black cottage core. That looks nice, but a lot of time I found like the middle line for me being fashionable and chic in actually plaid working shirts, my cowboy boots, and my hat. And I feel very comfortable. You can find your own style in the cuts that complement you and fit you. My hair definitely goes with my lifestyle. It's made for the garden, jumping in the water, walking in the rain, no products. If I don't have something to cover my hair, no problem. Oh my gosh, it's like being free from jail. I love feeling free and comfortable in my hair and my body. And for those of you, if anyone has been ill or sick in the last year and a half, I don't know about you, but when I don't feel well, I don't have much jewelry and stuff on, but when I don't feel well, I don't want anything on my person. I'm just tempted to rip everything off, right? I even see how some people are tempted to cut their hair off when they don't feel well. So if you feel overheated or nauseous or sick, last thing I want to be worrying about is my hair, right? So if you ever have to go to the doctor and think your hair standing all over your head, well, I don't have to worry about that, right? This is super free. carefree hair. Oh my gosh, there's nothing like enjoying your own hair and skin and holding on to the hairline that you have, right? Vitality in the body. I think the strengthening of the hair is coming from your circulation, which is also connected to the real food, right? Your cells know the difference. The real food that you're eating and sleep and relaxation. Hey, greetings, greetings. So, if we're going to hold on to the hairline, maybe perhaps we can consider some restful styling, right? Things that are not pulling on your hair if it's delicate and it breaks very easily. Why spend so much money on products or on glue? We're putting the glue directly on the skin. I'm like, wow, that's deep. And there are different qualities of glue. It's going directly on the skin. Your brain is right here. I don't know. And I see the glue, and then I see the wig cap, and we're gluing it right onto the scalp. And so I'm not here to make it bad or wrong, but for me would deepen my insecurity. It just would, and I feel comfortable enough. If I don't want to put mascara on, I could just throw a little shea butter, cocoa butter, or some castor on my eyelashes and my eyebrows and keep it moving. And that's a really relaxing feeling. So let me know, have you done any damaging hairstyles that have compromised your hairline? For those women that have given birth, usually there's a period right after we've given birth, but sometimes we'll lose a bit of our hairline. It sometimes just comes with the territory. So our bodies go through a lot. They go through a lot, and more is coming down the pipeline. So hopefully you're prioritizing a daily personal movement practice. It's got a million different benefits, more than I can ever name here. But the biggest thing with this lifestyle, a simple lifestyle, I'm not doing anything that you all can't do, right? And that's the beauty of it. These lifestyle practices, the three that I share, there's something that you have access to no matter what your budget, no matter what your living situation, if you have enough space for a mat, no matter what your budget, your job, you have access. Even if it's a little teeny windowsill, you can nurture a plant, especially if you can grow an herb to eat, even better, right? A daily personal movement practice, right? And then peaceful consumption, whatever label you want to put on is your blah, blah, blah business. But basically, food that demonstrates that it loves you back, right? It's not clogging up your tubes, your internal tubes, so you're dropping harsh bricks, stinky bricks into the toilet. That's a communication that's telling you something, right? If you've got lots of hyperpigmentation, it's telling you something about your liver, or it's telling you something about your digestion, that perhaps you're not digesting everything that you're eating. If you have unhealthful amounts of fatty tissue or adipose tissue wrapped around your organs, right? Visceral fat. The stomach is not that big, so our midsections are distended. I get body positivity. So I think it would benefit us to be mindful, not to be complacent with our numbers, right? Because I don't know when we got to a point of embracing, I don't know, people having an excessive amount of visceral fat around the organs when the stomach is small. But I hear constantly, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. So are we waiting for a diagnosis? Because excess, and it's not that you can be very slim and have disease and other things going on with your body, like autoimmune diseases. So it's not just about your weight. But definitely, I can tell you, in my family, I've seen it over and over for years, 30 something years in food, healthy food, and fitness, that an excessive amount of adipose tissue, that is a huge factor contributing to the comorbidities of diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure, right? And metabolic syndrome. We're seeing it amongst the whole population. We're collecting so much adipose tissue around the midsection. That's a clear communication. So I get we have Spang, so we can let it hang out and we can dress it up. That's fantastic. But I think perhaps to become complacent to our numbers, I think that is going to bite us in the backside, right? And when I go in different communities, the conversations are totally different. There are night and day conversations in terms of prioritizing your numbers and what are the markers that are telling me how I'm doing and what do I need my body to do for me in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. Are you a sitting duck when it comes to being able to protect yourself? We in denial, thinking that, God is going to come down from the sky and just change your blood work. It doesn't work like that. That's delusional. You're putting it all on Jesus. We were given the tools to get into action, right? But it's really something to really be honest with ourselves. But anyway, I'm going to hop off of here. I wanted to come in to just have a chat. It feels like Sunday, but it's actually, I got to remind myself it's Saturday, it's market day. Let me know, has your hair recovered, your hairline? Have you sacrificed it? Or are you on a mission to preserve your hairline or bring it back to life? Are you working with what you have and looking to see how you can find a hairstyle at this point that preserves what you have left and that is complementary, something that you like, that you feel that looks attractive, but that also can go along with your fun, your active lifestyle? Let me know what you think. So sending some positive vibrations out to Carolyn and Sierra and to Rose and Kayla, all you folks. Usually Onya hops on here. Sending you all some warm positive vibrations. The 5 a.m. workout, the community class is every Friday at 5 a.m. So that's usually a full class. This Friday, I was feeling a little tired, but we still did it anyway, and I never regret it. And Monday through Thursday is a 5 a.m. workout. If you'd like to do the full workout and to train with me, the full workout, reach out to me at Body-Culinary. Reach out if you're interested in the Flower Fit community and that network. Yeah, you fill out an application so I can know who I'm dealing with on the internet. Flower Fit is about coming together, very specific around specific activities, what you are growing or starting to grow in your garden, your fitness results, because we're about the results, not just talking positive. We want to get into action, your daily personal movement practice, your garden, and peaceful consumption. That is the focus. And I think that will serve us, right? Some of us, I think we have a lot of assets that we're not tapping into, languages, skills. Some of us live in different parts of the globe, in the country. We are definite resources to each other. So I like to come together respectfully around specific activities. So what is somebody saying here before I hop off? Uh-oh, I can't see the comments. Yeah, so I'm about to do some hair care. Nice, nice. If anything, it's raining season, rainy season. So I'm collecting some rainwater. So I'm gonna dip my hair in some rainwater. Maybe I'll lace it with some fresh rosemary. See, I find stuff like that is exciting, dipping into the garden. So you can reach out and find me over at body-culinary.com. There are several community groups. There's also Flower Fit. I have a private group for women only at this time, and those that have a uterus, respectfully, on Discord. So I need to know who I'm communicating with, so you can vet yourself, so you can make sure that it is a safe space. Yeah, that is non-negotiable for me. My safety, my mental, emotional health. So I need to know exactly who I'm communicating with. So fill out the application. There should be some links here in the Body-Culinary channel. Hopefully get your heart rate monitor so you can get into your positive accountability, because we do not wait for New Year's and Thanksgiving. That's a scam. Our therapy is every day. We deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair and skin. Signing off. I'll see you on TikTok, Instagram, all that jazz. All right. Have a good, restful sleep this evening.